My name is Rocchio. I'm the CEO of Thinware Media Limited.
Okay.
And we just released an application called Studio Cap, which is computer-aided production.
Okay.
And what we do is we manage, we help digital content creators create their content faster and cheaper. I got into the animation industry in the mid-90s when we were still doing traditional work with a company called Studio B Productions.
Okay.
And my wife was a producer there, or a production person there, and she brought me in to run the systems.
Okay.
And at the time, there was no animation being done in Canada. Most of it was being formed, a lot of pre-production.
Yeah.
And then everybody boxes it in FedEx and runs every Friday and heads off to the airport to get there in time to send it overseas. And so that's where I started, and what I found was after about a year there that since they were traditional, there wasn't too much for a digital guy to do. And then fast forward to 2002, they decided to get into the digital realm, and we're really one of the first Flash studios in Canada.
Okay, wow.
And so I started with them there, and then I helped build their studio with them and built their whole asset management system. And by the time the fellas sold the business for $8 to $10 million, we had 250 people, up from around 8 in 2002 when we finished our first digital show. So I've been in it for quite a while. I've seen a lot of changes, and yeah, it's lots of fun. Well, from a selfish point of view, Thinware, we're just up the road anyways.
Yeah.
So we're about 8 blocks up, so we didn't have to really maximize every minute that we're here, like a lot of our friends who've come from around the world. But our biggest thing was we just launched the application last week.
Yeah.
So it was to come in here and introduce ourselves, get to know people, and to show that we have a product that really approaches it in a different angle than anybody else in our space. Well, I think we all know Vancouver, if it's not the hottest place to do work for animation, it's a close second, and you'll have to argue with me what's number one. We've had a great reaction by our government.
Yeah.
When we were in the early 2000s, we had some industry leaders like Chris Bartleman, Blair Peters, and work with our government to try and get some tax incentives to keep work up here. The Dave tax did not exist up until, I believe, in the 2000s, and then we have also a big labor tax now.
Yeah.
So what's the best thing? Our government's listening.
Yeah.
And then number two, we have probably the best schools in Canada, and in North, and obviously the Americans are picking up, and there's some great schools in Europe, but we have Sheridan, VFS, Cap University, and much more that I should be able to answer and say more, but you know, we have a lot of good studios.
And so that you feel is the core strength of the Canadian industry, is our education and our governmental support? By
far. Without the government support, we don't have work. With the government support and no students, we have work but nobody to finish it. So we've hit a happy medium with government support and the students that we were able to bring in. Well, number one is one of the biggest things that we've brought to the market, and we feel it's rather disruptive, is that one of the things that stops the creative people from going out and trying things on their own is the capital investment that you got to make.
Yeah.
You have to go to the bank, you have to put your house up, you know, as collateral, and you get a big loan, and then you can now build your infrastructure to then start doing your work.
Yeah.
Now what we've done, and being in the industry for so long, and my close friends are the artist, the talent, and what we've done with Studio Cap is we've built a platform that allows them, comparably speaking, if you go to my blog at thinwaremedia.com, you'll see we did a price comparison between building a traditional studio, or a studio traditionally, with a server room and all the infrastructure you have to build, or using Studio Cap and our partners like Steam Engine and Render Rocket, and the price difference is unbelievable.
Wow.
You know, so what we've done is we've taken the only people who could get into the game were the people who had deep pockets, or family that had deep pockets, great credit rating. But now what we do is we allow people to take what we give them, which is a full infrastructure, and make it an operational cost. Well, I think they've got to stay on status quo. They've done great jobs. We've got competition within provinces now, with Ontario and Quebec doing their incentives, and us here in BC. Saskatchewan's working hard. I haven't heard too much about Alberta, but what we have to do is we just have to we have to keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on. We have to keep getting incentives to keep coming, have people coming here, and as long as the government pays attention to that, and we don't change our tune, then we'll constantly be feeding Vancouver and Canada as far as work goes from around the world. Take a look at thinwaremedia.com, and in there there's a blog. We have some information about our product. And if you are an artist who wants to give it a shot, log in, drop us an email, and we'll support you any way we can.